The Michael Berry Show.
My friend Olivia, who is the wife of the Aggie plumber out in College Station, and loved the story about Woodard. She knows Woodard because they came on the Aspen trip, and Woodard came on the Aspen trip. And she said, eggs for the black church. Filling 1,000 Easter eggs for our little black church right now. This is year 14 of providing an egg hunt every year. There are 7 acres separating us and the church in our front yard, and I love to do yard work and listen to their praise. They celebrated 130 years a couple years ago. Amazing church, truly inspiring. You know, I'm going to give this advice, and people are going to think I'm crazy. But this is the kind of advice I've given to my kids. At some point, you're going to marry somebody. And that person is going to have more to do with your career success and happiness than anything else you do. I have watched people move heaven and earth to get their kid into a private school. I have watched people open their wallet and act foolish to get their kid into Aggieland or UT or wherever their kid has to go. I have watched them drive to Kingdom Come to go to on travel baseball or AAU or whatever basketball. You don't need to correct me with an email if I got the letters wrong. It's not that important. That's not an important detail to the story. I have watched them do everything, anything you imagine. Letters of recommendation, going to camp, getting tutoring, all these things to put their child in a position to be successful. And never once address the issue of who your life partner is going to be. You marry some crazy bitch, you're going to have a horrible life. And you're going to lose half of what you built, be ready to blow your brains out, be a raging alcoholic, a bitter person, and have a terrible attitude toward the opposite sex. And then you probably repeat the pattern because now you've learned so many bad habits. Or you're the sweetest, most wonderful girl in the world, and you get your head bashed in. You got children with some bastard who is a horrible dad who you have to deal with because now people pay no attention to who your life partner is going to be. And parents, they don't address it. They don't address it. Friends of mine think I'm a nut for it, but I do. Let's talk about what you want. When a woman, and so people think what they want is the woman that when you walk into the room, every head turns. I have friends like this. They're single in their 50s, 60s, and their idea of the perfect woman is the hottest woman so that when they walk into the restaurant, everybody turns and says, whoo, look at him. He's got a hot woman. Yeah, and she's going to take him to the cleaners, and Bobby Newman is going to take $2 million from him next year, and he doesn't even see it coming for 10 rounds of sex. Was that worth? That's pretty expensive. And all the trauma that goes to it, his adult kids and him don't talk anymore because she split them up. He's paid more to her lawyer than he has for his own kid. I mean, it's awful. All that by way of saying, when you're looking for a life partner with whom you're going to, what? No, don't marry an ugly woman. That's not what I said. Thank you, Joe Tex. But let me finish. It's important, Ramon. Please don't interrupt. All the things that you think are important, because you're going to want to reproduce, continue the species. You're going to want somebody to be there when you come home every day, to lay in the bed next to you, to share a bank account with. When you go on a long drive, somebody to spend time with. Let me tell you something. You marry a woman that does yard work because she enjoys it. That's a good wife. Nobody divorces a woman that does yard work, listening to the church up the way and singing along with it. Nobody. You marry the woman that does yard work. If she can darn or knit or stitch, marry that one. If she has the habits of her grandmother, she quilts. If she's in college or post-college and she quilts, lock her down right now. Don't let don't let her out of your sight. That is the one you want. You want the one that is 90%. Well, you want the one that is 25% lover. I'm doing this off the fly, so it might not add up. 25% lover, 25% your mother, in that she cares for you. She's a little bossy when it's for your best interest. 25% your buddy that can be your friend when you need her to be, but you don't want her to be all the time. She's not going to hang out with your buddies. You got to have your guy time. And 25% your biggest fan. And I see guys that don't have a wife that's their biggest fan. They got to argue with their wife. Can't make a career decision, can't do what they want to do, can't take. She needs to believe in you and understand your weaknesses and understand your foibles, whether you drink too much or you eat too much or, you fight too much or whatever it is. You've got your weakness, and she understands that. That's marriage material. You get the marriage right, let me tell you something. The rest is details. You will fly to you will ascend to your highest heights. You get the marriage wrong, and you will have a lifetime of struggle. And I've watched it happen so many times. So many times. And friends of mine will come to me for marital advice, and I give it. And now my joke is, I'm not giving it to you because you're an idiot. You've been divorced 4 times for a reason. You're going to date, you're going to marry some other dude's ex-wife, and she's got Bobby Newman on speed dial, and you're going to be right back where you were again. And some of these guys, I got friends who will brag about how much they've had to pay Bobby Newman, the divorce attorney, for their ex-wife. Like that's a point of pride. Like, it's crazy. It makes me crazy. I want good things for my friends, anyway. Let's go to Tom because he's blasting Dynamite. Tom, what you got?
God, hey, Michael, you probably know about this. I worked in the seismic business 30 years, and we blasted all over orange foam. I blasted everywhere. Where, you lay the geophones down in the cable and you're looking for oil and natural gas.
That sounds like a blast.
And, yeah, I mean, it was hard work. Working around orange, I mean, you never kept dry feet. I mean, you walk out in those swamps out there, and so what you did is you got these drill buggies in there, and they drill a 100-foot hole and put 20 pounds of dynamite in there. And, a guy'd come along there later and shoot the hole, and it'd blast off. And then, so when we go to Orange or anywhere we went, we had to advertise in the paper that we were going to blast dynamite.
Did you get to scream fire in the hole?
This wasn't Mayberry.
No, but if you watch Justified, Walt Goggins' character, when he would blow stuff up because he was this hillbilly terrorist, bad guy, and he would he was a bombs explosive. I think he was trained in the military, his character, and he would drop it down in there, and he would scream fire in the hole. And when that happened on that show, you knew something was about to get blown up. That is very interesting, Tom. Thank you for calling and sharing that. Most of us will never get to have an experience like that.
The Michael Berry Show.
Some guys never figure this out. You do not marry a woman based on how hot she looks on an Instagrammable Friday night dinner party or Saturday night. Because I'm telling you, she's been at every service professional all day long. Those toes are not going to look like that for the rest of your life. They're just not. Well, they are if you're my wife, because it's that important to me. And she knows it makes me happy, and she does it. Her paws and claws are not going to look like they do at the party. That the makeup she's had done, all of that, they're not going to look like that. You need to see her in a different light. Doug's last name, Doug Stone style. You need to see her in the garage in August, in July, with her hair pulled back, with overalls on, paint splattered everywhere, including on her face, and she's wiping her face with the back of her hand, and she's out there painting without bothering a soul, listening to John Denver tunes with old Chuck Taylor high tops because she ain't buying new ones, and a T-shirt on that's from her high school. You need to see her in that light, and then you don't need to worry if she's as skinny as she always was anymore. I mean, you don't want her to blow up on you, but within reason, You give a little cushion, give a little tolerance because you're not as skinny as you once were. You got a woman that you go outside and you look at her in that light, and she turns and says something sweet and tender to you, even though she's out there in the heat and sweating. She's not bitching and blah, 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 blah. And she says something sweet to you, like, "You hungry?" Or, "What's going on, baby?" That's the one right there. I'm telling you, that's the keeper. That woman will hold your hand as you take your dying breath at 80 years old. That's the woman right there. You catch a woman out in the monkey grass. This was my mother. Out in the monkey grass, pulling the weeds out, picking the weeds out of hands dirty as they can be, no gloves on. That's the keeper, man. I'm telling you, you're not trying to win the beauty contest. Every guy's, you don't know what they're going to look like in 10 years. Certainly not 20. You don't know. You don't know how big they're going to get. You don't know. You can't nag them skinny. They're going to be, it's genetics and behavioral. And you just don't know. You don't know what the post-baby weight's going to be. You can't worry about all that. You've got to worry about, is she going to be good to you? Is she going to fulfill your needs and not just sexually? Is she going to be a good mother? Does this strike you as the kind of person that's going to be a good mother? Does this strike you as the kind of person that is going to be there for your kids? Nothing makes me think less of a woman than a woman who does not take care of her own kids because she's out whoring with guys or, on the single scene or whatever she's doing. If they don't have a maternal instinct for their own children, that's a bad thing for me. Very bad thing. But I also tend to be a person who believes that a woman can be the CEO of a company. They can be a president if it's the right woman. They can be an astronaut or whatever else they want, great lawyer, whatever they want to be. And they can also be a great mommy and a great cook and a great wife and a caretaker and a lover and a supporter and a cheerleader. And they can be a non-professional, never work outside the home, and keep the best home ever. My mom didn't work outside the home, so maybe I have a glorified view of that because my life was richer because my mother stayed home and made sure that our socks didn't have holes in them because she stitched them, and made sure that our homework was done, and made sure that we took to school what we needed, and if we were on a medication that we took that. We had time spent with us, a lot of it. And as high school students, too much of it because she was in our business. But thank God for it now. So, yeah. So that's, you can just slug these last two segments, picking a good wife, Ramon. This is picking a good wife. This is a conversation people don't have. I'm not telling them. Okay, fellas, if y'all are on hold, stay with me. I will talk to you off air the minute we finish, and we'll just replay them later. Just stay with me. Be patient. I need to get to this. All right, ladies, how to pick a man. Number one, your parents should like your man. If your parents don't like your man, just understand this. Whatever it is that attracts you about him has blinded you. Your parents are looking out for what's best for you. Your parents are not sleeping with him. So if he can sling it and you like it and it feels good and you feel nasty or you feel sexy or whatever else, I got news for you. That will not be there when you're in your 60s, okay? You will have to transition to part two. And part two is he's a lazy slob. He's an insecure person. He's a needy person. He's not a provider. He's not a protector. So whatever he's making you feel that you like so much, that's not the basis of a rewarding, fulfilling marriage of 50 years or more. It's just not. It's just not. It's great. I'm happy for you, but it's just not. Does he talk bad about his own family? That's a red flag. A man who loves his mother. But here's the problem. I've always said this. It's been my thing my entire life. Maybe because my mother said that you should judge a man by how he treats his mother, and I bought into it, so whatever. But if he talks bad about other people, if everything is somebody else's fault, if he doesn't trust other people, if even his own friends, when he introduces you to them, he doesn't trust them. He can't trust him. But I thought he was your best friend. Yeah, but one time he did it. Bad sign. Bad judge of character to start with, and probably a person who, out of his own insecurities, tears everyone else down. And the other thing, and I learned this lesson probably in my 30s, I learned that whatever people complain about others about is very likely a mirror into their own soul. Rush always said that about the liberals. What they call the Republicans, what the things they accuse them of, if you want to know what they're up to, it's what they accuse the Republicans of. The next thing is, does he honor and respect you beyond the sexual realm? Does he respect you for who you are? Does he think you're smart? And I don't mean how well you do in school. Does he think you have good judgment? Does he value your humor? Does he value your life skills? Does he compliment those things in a meaningful way? So many people are so hung up on sex, which is great. It's important. Yeah, I got it. But when you're talking about somebody you're going to commit your life to, and that's all, I know people that are multimillionaires that still think that's the most important thing, and then they wonder a year later why they got Bobby Newman calling and they're being served, and here we go again. So maybe, just maybe, if we focus on the things that should matter. Man, how do I find somebody like your wife? You're not looking for somebody like my wife. You're looking for somebody you're going to see at the bar on Thursday night having rosé all day because she's real cute and she's had her lips plumped up where she's in permanent duck face and she's got her boobs real big because you like really big boobs, and a year later you're paying Bobby a bunch of money.